Hey guys, so lately I've been reading Dr. Joseph Murphy's The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and I mentioned this on my latest video. And there's some really good sections in here, and this one that I just came across is called The Law of Reversed Effort, as the title says. Now, I feel as if a lot of us have probably experienced this in our lives, and he has a really good example of this. And now Vadim Zeland, the author of Transurfing, also discusses this, and he takes it on from the standpoint of lowering importance. And I know other people who, with a more of a background in psychology, probably have referred to this as neediness and needing a certain outcome. And it's almost like the more that you need and the more important that it is for you to have a certain outcome, it's like you're energetically almost repelling that particular thing away from you. So, yeah. Now, if you're familiar with Emile Coué, who is talked about in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, he was kind of the originator of sorts of autosuggestion, which we now call affirmations. But he has a quote here saying, "When your desires and imagination are in conflict, your imagination invariably wins the day." So there's a really good example of this in Dr. Joseph Murphy's book, which is, if I was to ask you to, let's say in your kitchen, walk the plank in your kitchen, you would immediately do it without any reservations, without any second thoughts. You would just do it simple, easy as that. But if I were to ask you to walk across the same plank that is now being suspended 20 feet in the air between two walls, it would be a different story. And the reason is because you are now imagining this potential failure, your potential falling from this plank. And because now the imagination is in conflict with the intention or desire to walk across this plank, because that is the dominant now idea in the mind, is this vision of you falling, that is what wins, and that is what makes people nervous. It is what makes people, if being in that situation, you know how when you get to the edge of a building or the edge of a cliff, it's like you're filled up with all this tense kind of nervous energy. Well, that's where that's coming from. So he says that your desire to walk it would be counteracted by your imagination or fear of falling. Your dominant idea, which would be the picture of falling, would conquer. Now he says your desire or will or effort to walk the plank would be reversed, and the dominant idea of failure would be enforced. Mental effort is invariably self-defeated, eventuating always in the opposite of what is desired. Suggestions of powerlessness to overcome the condition dominate the mind. Your subconscious is always controlled by the dominant idea. Your subconscious will accept the strongest of two contradictory ideas. So he says to use mental force is to presuppose that there is a problem or opposition. And that is a really good point, because as we've all seen, as we've all experienced firsthand, we'll have situations that we run into where we want an outcome so much. We are striving for a certain outcome, but by wanting it, we are presupposing that there is this opposition to our outcome, that there is somehow this obstacle or opposing force to our desire. But when we approach it with this sense of ease and lightness, then energetically there is no opposition, there is no presupposition of this opposing force. Now, an example I can give you guys that came to mind was several years ago in 2016. I went on this photography meetup, and there was this girl there, this female photographer, and she was like very talented, very well known, everything. When we met, when we first, began speaking and talking, and there was other people there, we hit it off kind of. We had like a great little, I was cracking jokes, and I was like kind of whatever, being charming, I guess you could say. And she was like, yeah, let's take some pictures. So we took some pictures, we were taking some pictures. But then in my mind, I'm thinking, this chick is such a popular photographer on Instagram. This would really be awesome if she posts, these photos that we're taking. And so I made some comment, and even though it was kind of like, in my mind, tongue in cheek, I think from the overall maybe tension that I had in my body, it didn't come across, it came across as being um, with like without sarcasm. It came across as being direct, but I made a statement something like, man, I'm gonna get so many followers from this shoot. And I hadn't said anything like that with any other photographers. It just kind of came, and it came out, and I'm sure that it probably didn't come out as intended, because immediately she kind of changed her demeanor, and I noticed that she was then wanting to shoot like less interested in engaging with me and in talking to me. And at the end of this whole shoot, I asked her, I was asking her for her contact information and to send me the pictures. And she seemed like very kind of disinterested and aloof towards my whole asking of the photos, or asking for her number. I had a similar experience in 2019, towards the end of 2019, right before COVID, where me and my buddy, we met up with a photographer, and he also was like a kind of a celebrity photographer of sorts. He had just gone on a shoot with like G-Eazy and Gunna. And I also wanted to make a good impression on him, because I thought that being friends with him and being cool with him would be, good. And so I was kind of like friendly and jovial, and kind of like my energy was kind of like bouncy, and maybe seeking some sort of reaction from him too much. Whereas my friend was just totally just there, present to the moment, and not, really looking anything into the situation. He didn't even know who this guy was, right? So he was coming in with completely no expectations. And the photographer actually ended up hitting up my friend to go on a shoot and to model some clothing for a certain brand of sorts. And I was like, kind of like, what the hell? Like, I'm the one that set up the shoot and all this. So I go there with my friend because he was visiting me. And again, the photographer was like a bit standoffish towards me. Not like overtly, but you could tell that he was just kind of like, okay, like, I guess I don't know whether he expected me to be there or not. But in any case, I was sitting there, and the other photographers, the other people that were involved in the shoot, actually took notice of me and said, yo, you have great style. Like, I want you to be in these shoots, and like, let me come in, like, join us, and let's get some more photos with you. So I did that. And funny enough, that photographer actually, really liked me. She was like, oh, you're my favorite and all this. But again, like, maybe that is just because I didn't know who she was, and I didn't have any expectations of her, or, trying to make an impression on her exactly. I was just there, and I did want to make a good impression, but it wasn't, I guess I probably wasn't putting forth any of that needy type of energy. And she actually hit me up later to be in a True Religion shoot that she was doing. But I happened to be in Spain. I wasn't in town. It didn't work out. But long story short is that we have these kinds of moments in our lives and examples that we can think of where this kind of like exertion and effort has really actually not only not helped, but really kind of distanced ourselves from the result that we were looking to get. And so this law of reversed effort, as Joseph Murphy points out, it is a real thing. And it's just the same, like what Vadim Zeland talks about, the lowering of the importance. All of these things are just terms to help us identify, what's going on an energetic level. And the more that we can realize that, that quote is really good. The mental force is to presuppose that there is a problem. And so by not straining, and that's another reason why we do these sats, or these states of akin to sleep, is awesome, is because it is entering into a state where there is not going to be effort. The state when we're about to go to sleep, it's a state where we're the most relaxed, and we're able to have that easygoing approach. Anyways, guys, I hope this was valuable. I think that his examples were really valuable to understand this concept more. And let me know if you have any thoughts on this and anything else that you'd like to hear. And yeah, if this helped, drop me a like, hit subscribe. You know the drill, all this stuff. And thank you for watching. I will see you guys next time.